Hey guys, so I got off work early today and am deciding to make a quick video. Maybe I'll have time to crank out another one today, but basically we're going to be talking about what you should do before you start investing. Now this is my opinion. If you have a financial advisor available, you should always follow their advice. I'm not a professional by any means. So now that that's out of the way, step number one is to pay off high interest debt. Now, the reason why is, let's say the stock market does between 6 and 10% average per year. The answer always changes depending on where you look, but let's just say that that's what it is, probably pretty close. Now, most credit cards are around 20% or more interest. So if you're investing and getting 10% back on your return, but you're paying out 24% on a credit card, you're losing. You want to pay off that credit card first and leverage your money into the investments after. You'll come out ahead if you do that, just because of the math of it. So now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the meat of the video. So before you get started, you need to have a general understanding of what you're investing in. We're going to talk about stocks just because that's what my channel is centered around, but this could apply to any investing, whether it's real estate, that kind of thing. So you want to have a knowledge of what you're doing. And what I mean by that is terminology, dividend yield. Do you know what that means? Dividend growth. You need to know what is going on here. If you are buying a company and you don't even know if they pay a dividend or not, that's just silly to me. You should really know what's going on there. You don't need to know everything about a company, but like I said in my stock analysis video, you just need to have a general idea before you can make a somewhat educated decision on a company. So with that being said, we have things available like Simply Safe dividends. Yes, I paid money to have this, but a suggestion that I would make for you guys is make a list of stocks that maybe you're trying to look up. Maybe it's these stocks here, and then sign up for their free trial. It's 14 days. You have 14 days to have access to the same information I do. And you can figure out from there if you want to invest in those companies or not. So let's say you don't want to do that. Every public company in the stock market has to have that information available. A company like Realty Income, it's right on the front page of their site. You can easily get to it. A company like Walmart, you might need to look a little bit more, but public companies have to have their information available. That's part of the deal. So knowledge shouldn't be too hard to obtain. It's just on you to get it sometimes. And again, I like Simply Safe because they make it a little bit easier. So moving on from that, so you have the knowledge, you've paid off the debt. Step number 3 would be to figure out what a sustainable amount is. So what we're talking about is dollar cost averaging. Now for me, that's once a week. I buy or invest in my portfolio $100 a week. People always ask me, what should I get started with? Well, you can get started with $1 with fractional shares. Robinhood doesn't have it available to everyone yet, but there's other platforms if you want to get started today. It doesn't really matter. And you can always transfer your brokerage account if you really want to, but basically any amount you can get started with. Just make sure you're in the right financial space to do that. So for me, it's $100 a week. Again, I could invest several hundred more than that if I wanted to, but right now I'm using that money to tackle some of my debt that I have. We're going to be buying a house in the next year, our second house. And then on top of that, I'm investing in this YouTube channel. So that's why I'm not investing more. I easily could, but I'm just using my money elsewhere right now. Eventually, I'll obviously ramp this up, but that's just my plan. Everybody needs to have a plan, and that goes into the next thing. You have to have a plan, and I'm not saying a loose plan. You should really write it down, whether it's in a document on your computer, notes on your phone, something like that. As you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, my watch list is being built, and my plan is to maybe pick 10 of these companies here to start putting money into. So that's just my loose plan. You should have a somewhat detailed plan on what you're doing. What point do you maybe pull out of the market? If you are really somebody that's kind of shaky and can't handle the emotional side of everything that's going on right now, because nobody knows what's going on with the market, maybe you should wait a little bit before you invest and do more research, and that's totally fine. But you need to assess your risk and whether or not you know, is a company like Prospect Capital a good idea for you, or do you want to do something a little safer like Johnson & Johnson, because their dividend safety score is 99 and they grow every year? You know, there's just so many different ways you can do this, and that's kind of the cool part about it. That's why when you guys ask me specific questions on what you should do, I don't really give you a straight up answer, because I don't know your situation, and it's impossible for me to really assess what I would even do in your shoes. So that's why I make videos like this, so you guys can kind of understand in general what you can look at from where you stand and make a good decision from there. So that's pretty much it. So to recap here, you should have your high interest debt paid off, because 9 times out of 10 you're probably not going to beat the market average. So it's just better to pay off that debt, one, because of the money returns, and two, just to get the overhead off your plate. It'll make you feel a lot better, trust me, I know. Number two, knowledge. You got to make sure you know what you're investing in, whether that's the company and what they do, all that stuff like we talk about the analysis videos, and understanding basics for stock market, you know, what's a limit order, all that stuff. So number three, what your investing amount is, you know, and then tying number four, what the plan is. So, you know, you got to have a plan. What's your goal for your portfolio, all that stuff. So that's pretty much where we're at. Any questions, feel free to reach out. This is just a general guide. We can get more specific into things like dollar cost averaging if you guys need that. Just anything at all, reach out, let me know. I love making these videos. I have a lot of knowledge to give. I've been researching stuff for almost 10 years now. I mean, I'm not an expert, but when you constantly just binge watch and do research, you kind of know a little bit. So I don't know everything, but any questions, again, just don't be afraid to reach out, and if it warrants a video, I will always make one. So thanks for watching. If you stuck around this far and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We want to get those numbers up, and a like on the video always helps too. So thank you.